The race to go public, rideshare apps Uber and Lyft are both planning to IPO sometime next year. Now, Uber currently has a 60% market share. Lyft is 23%, enviable in most other industries. But Lyft is eyeing and expanding into bikes and self-driving cars. And the co-founders believe that soon Lyft will overtake its biggest rival. That seems, Laurie Siegel, most unlikely now.
Look, I think there's always been this huge competition between Lyft and Uber, although arguably you could say Uber's had a pretty bad couple years. They're trying to get back, but they still have the market share. I had a very candid conversation with Lyft's co-founder, John Zimmer, and he opened up about what it's like to be the underdog and why he thinks they have the competitive edge. Take a listen.
Looking back, I have a lot more perspective than I had in the moment. I think in the moment, it was scary. One, we cared so deeply, as we do today, about our mission to improve people's lives with the world's best transportation. And you had this entity that had 30 times the amount of cash as you that wanted to destroy you. And it was very clear that they were willing to go to whatever means to do that. You know, I think what really got us there, one is this partnership I have with Logan. The team members that we brought in they knew from day one that we were the underdogs. They had to believe in the mission. And so we were, I'd say, more hungry. The why behind our work was stronger than I would say, other companies. And we just kept grinding and pushing to the point now where we now have markets that have more market share than they do. And I think that's because of that focus on people.
But you think at some point you'll be able to overtake Uber's market share?
Absolutely.
When do you think that'll happen?
No predictions, but it will happen.
How do you ensure that, and this is such a basic question, but it seems like we keep having to ask it, how do you ensure that your riders are safe?
Well, the first thing is when we started Lyft 6 years ago, we said we want to build the safest transportation for our loved ones to get around in. So we looked at what other modes of transportation, whether it was taxis, limos, or transit, what they required of drivers and passengers. And then we created a new benchmark. So for hire vehicles prior, it was about $750,000 of insurance. We set it at $1 million. Some required background checks, some didn't. We required background checks for driving record check as well as criminal background checks.
What have you learned from Uber's mistakes?
I've learned that focusing on us and us guiding our own course, us setting the safety standards is important rather than looking to others.
Okay, I want to read you something. Or I want you to actually read it. It's something you wrote at the time. These two quotes, it's something you wrote at the time.
This isn't a time to gloat. The faults of our competition don't do anything to deliver a better experience for our customers.
And you wrote that when Travis Kalanick was ousted from Uber.
Yeah.
Why'd you write it?
I was walking around the building and thinking about my own feelings and thinking about feelings of the team. We'd been at battle with this entity that thought they could kill us and that they should kill us. And then the Uber was having challenges. And I thought of all the moments, this might be one of the most important moments for us to show who we are. And why are we doing this? It's not just to win. It's not just to beat them. It's to serve our customers and our drivers. And so nothing changed about how we were serving our drivers and passengers in that moment. And I thought it was a great moment to share with the team that we remain focused on serving the people that make our business possible.
And it's interesting having interviewed almost back-to-back the CEO of Uber and the co-founder of Lyft, very different ethos at the company. And I will say John Zimmer has a background in hospitality, not a background as a Silicon Valley engineer. And I think that definitely plays out in how the companies are run.
Sure, because hospitality requires you to be hospitable. Sounds obvious, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, look, and I think Uber has run into a lot of trouble because it's been deemed so competitive that it took the competitive edge and winning at all costs. And I think Lyft hasn't done that. Now, we'll see when they both go public and you see Uber owns the majority market share. It's been rough for Lyft, but they have been gaining in the last couple of years as Uber has fallen behind.
Ultimately, though, do customers care? I mean, when I pick up my phone to get a car, we had the black cars in New York, the sedans for years. Sure. Apple and 777 and all those. They're still around.
Yeah, look, I think at the end of the day, customers just want to do what's easiest to do. And I think people will, and many times, they do go to Uber, and many times, that being said, I know that a lot more folks have made the switch to Lyft or are using Lyft as an option over the last couple of years because of some of the stuff that's happened.